Alright, now we're going to reassemble the Mossberg 500 20 gauge shotgun. So first we're going to start with the frame and the forearm. Just the opposite of how we took it apart. So just line it up, pull there, slide it on like that. Now these two arms have to go through these two slots at the same time. You have to line them up pretty tight. So you need to get these, move them around. Oh, I got lucky that time. Okay, move them around till they slide in, and then they're going to get stuck, so you got to push them down a little. Once you finagle them around to get those sliders in there. Next, we need to put in the elevator assembly. Goes in this way, and these pins end up in these holes here. You just squeeze it, line it up with those pins, and it'll end up just like this. After the elevator is in, the bolt goes in this way. So to get that in, pull the elevator partially out, and this goes right in where the barrel attaches. You can just kind of slide it in like that. Let it sit in the bottom. Now you have to get it past the ejector. So this ejector here, it's spring loaded, it's part of the frame here. So once you get past the ejector in there, the ejector goes in that slot. Push the bolt all the way to the back. Next we have the bolt slide. The bolt slide sits in this way. On the sides there's a notch here, and this is a notched out area right here, as you can see. So it's going to slide in that notched area, but before you do that, you need to have things kind of lined up. So we want to get the bolt, this notch here, get the back lined up with that. Forearm slides in. You want this notch lined up right there. That way when you take your bolt slide will drop right in this notch like that. Finagle that a little, and that part of the forearm will come right through those notches on the sides. And then push it down a little and bring it forward just to kind of hold things in place. Next we want to get our cartridge interrupter right here. This is the one with a pin on it, and that pin goes in this hole. So you just want to put it down in the side slot there like that. You have to hold it in place because it's just sitting there. It goes in that pin right here. Hold that in place, and then your cartridge stop does not have the pin on it, and it goes in with the curve toward the front of the gun this way. Now hold this in, and this one sits on the other side all the way up front like that. Now those are both kind of sitting there. You kind of need to hold those, and the next thing we're going to do is drop in the trigger housing, and that's just going to go right here. If you have everything lined up right, the front goes in first, then the back kind of drops down. Now once this is in, you don't have to hold these anymore. Then squeeze this here to hold it together, and then look through this hole to make sure it's a clear shot through there, and then insert your trigger housing pin like that. Now we just need to put the barrel back on. Alright, so the barrel is going to line up like this, okay, and then push it through in here. Line this up and make sure this lines up as well. Push that together. Turn this screw just thumb tight. Don't put a wrench on this. Just make it as tight as you can with your hand. Put the grip on the back. Just push that on. Put your bolt in there. Tighten that sucker up. Make that pretty tight. You don't want that loosening up. Your 20 gauge pump shotgun is back together. You can see if there's some fingerprints. You can wipe down the outside of your gun. Alright, next thing you want to do is a quick function and safety check. Check to make sure it is unloaded. There's no round in the chamber. There's no ammo in the tube. Check the chamber again to make sure we didn't just load it. The first thing we want to do, with the action lock lever pressed, we just want to move the forearm back and forth. Make sure everything seems to be working. Okay, and now with your safety on all the way to the rear, the trigger should not function. Now with the safety on fire position, with the safety off, actually with the red showing, Make sure your gun is pointed in a safe direction even though we know it's unloaded, and press the trigger. The hammer should fall. And one last thing that I always do to make sure that my Mossberg is going to eject and extract properly is I get some snap caps. These are just fake ammunition, 20 gauge, a zoom. This is what I like. I like the orange ones to make it obvious that these are not real ammunition. And what I just do, I do this for all my guns after I reassemble them. It's just a nice way to check to make sure everything's working. Basically, I'm going to load 5 dummy rounds in there. Then I'm going to load one in the chamber. So now we have a gun that is loaded with snap caps. So basically all I'm going to do is work the action to make sure that it extracts and ejects a dummy round after each time I run the slide. So it should do that 5 times. They should jump out and everything will be working. So let's test it. Here we go. All right. That's what I do, just to make sure everything's in place and everything's working. If you like this video, please hit like below, and please check out the links in the description below for all the products that we use